Okay, greetings all. This time I will be showing a tutorial on the integration of the Tempest combat framework with the RPG medieval and equipment system. So basically it's another integration tutorial showing another inventory system that's a bit more. It's a bit less JRPG style and more like a Souls-like type of inventory system. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of it, we'll go over a couple of the basics. Obviously, I'll assume you'll have this little sample project here that comes with the you can get from the Discord from the Tempest combat framework. Highly recommended system. It's extremely viable, modifiable, and customized however you please. But before we do all of that, we will go to the actual inventory system itself, and I'll show you some of the basics of it before we actually get started on the integration. Hopefully we can get it to load in a suitable time frame here. And with any luck I can avoid any crashes that have been happening lately with the old UE5. Okay, it's taking its time. What I'll do is I'll pause it. I'll pause this until the actual level loads up and then we'll be right back. Okay, that's the level finally loaded. I forgot how slow that can take sometimes. But do a quick start here, and you'll see we have the character. Here's a basic menu set for your equipment system, your inventory, your stats screen. Options does nothing, and of course the quit. What's unique about this one is it does come with a very in-depth stats system. Think very similar to Elden Ring, I'd say. You've got your base stats here, that increase the various power, defense, regenerations, your attack power, attack speed. You increase the points in some of these, increases your stats and such as you're going along. Playing through the game. You can confirm, reset. He's got it set to save all these stats automatically. You can change that yourself later on if you don't want to save automatically. Then there's also the inventory page. You've got all the items, your consumables, your materials, quest items, weapons, and then your armor pieces and so on. And then you've got the equipment page. You can equip 4 jewelry pieces, rings, necklaces, whatever. Your headpiece, chest piece, hands, legs, bunch of consumable slots, and then your 3 slots for weapons. And obviously, of course, he has an options tab here that doesn't work. A reason for this one as well is there's also he also made a system called Easy Quest, which apparently can be integrated pretty well into these systems as well. So some people might find that one useful too. What we will do is we'll basically get started here. We'll actually start just on this map. Like I said, generally, of course, you'll want to make sure you have the Tempest system plugged in and installed. Inventory system, and you will also want to make sure in your project settings for the inputs you have these at enhanced. All the gameplay tags that will be used and such and all, they all come with the sample project we saw at the start of the video. So just like I said, I will assume everyone here has the combat system. Right. That's movable. Just for the sake of it. Right. First thing we want to do is go to our inventory. No, not the inventory, the stats component. Blueprints. Find this rune character. This one is the base parent blueprint of the inventory system. As you can see, if you go into the inventory system and the blueprints here, there is another character blueprint here called inventory character. This will basically be your own character's whole system and setup. Down phone. Right. This is it. This will be your characters. You see, it's the child blueprint of the rune part of the rune character. So what we will do is we will go into class settings and make this a child of the TCF default third person character. Then of course always make sure then to get the call the parent functions. That setup TCF game mode. We'll change the character then to the inventory one. Where are you? Oh, there we go. Inventory character. The inventory system doesn't have a player controller, so we can keep this one. And yes, that starts that up fine. Bring up the controller blueprint here, and I'll just connect that up for convenience. And all your basic movements. Okay, I'm back. Apologies. I will have to do a couple of pauses here and then because my original video when me and Mal were making this up was very it was over an hour long, so there's a lot of testing of things we were going back and forth, and a lot of things that we were doing at one point then were being changed to completely different blueprints. So as I follow on some of that and check up my other project, I'll pause every now and then just to so as not to take up too much time. But once you're parented, got your controller all set up and such, and your inventory character, then also just for now we'll put this to the unarmed weapon. don't know how much of it you can see because it's right beside the actual beside the stamina bar and its screen as well. But up by the stamina bar at the top corner there, you can see it says state idle and then state walk, state falling. So basically, that's recording our movements here. That's just a little testing thing just to make sure all's working properly so far. If you don't want to see that, that's in the player controller. Just disconnect from that little tick again if you want to. Just take it away. I'll just leave it. We know it's working now, so I'll just disconnect that. Right, and next from that, so that's got all our proper movement working. So now the basic thing we need to find is basically the core function of this. To integrate this is all going to come from the stats. So in the inventory, stats, blueprints, we will bring up the stats component. A lot of the major things are all going to happen in here because the stats are very, very pivotal in this inventory system. So first things first, we get yep, this is where it all loads up and set and load and such. You've got it all set to save automatically. You can change all this if you want yourself later on. And a couple of these values we will be adding to, but nothing actually too major will be done. You just have to make a couple of new functions. I just remember bring up my older project and double check it. Okay, yes. Like I said, I could drag some of this on sometimes. Get all that out of the way. So first function we will call get TCF stat. And from this we'll then come out of here. You can have this wherever you want, but I'll just have it here for now. We need to make one little blueprint called base attribute. As you can see, it's from the Tempest system, so we pick this little base attribute blueprint here. So what we're basically doing, we're trying to integrate the inventory stat system with the Tempest stat system so they both work well together. And we'll just call this BP base attribute. And in this we will make a variable called stat struct. Over here, there was 2 or 3 of these all called the same, but it's this one here. See, they both have 2 different little symbols. This one is just a basic dot one. If you want to double check in, you just compile, check the struct here, and if you got all the stats, health, current value, just basically all the things that are in the inventory system stats. And I think there was something more to add in here. Yes. I don't know if we need to worry about it yet, so I'll leave it for now, but there is a function we need to add in here, but for now we'll get back to the component. From the stats component end, we will just get started. Get owner. Get component by class. And of course it'll be the Tempest attributes. As you can see, there's two of them. There's a BP Tempest attributes component and the baseline Tempest attributes component, and that's the one you want to pick. Tempest attributes component. And that we will then get created attributes, get created attributes, and then for each loop. We will then cast to integrated base attribute. From this we will then get the stat struct that we made and break it. Equal enum. That one we will drag and put up into there. I'll just name that stat defined. Branch up here. Then we just need a return node. A TCF attribute that of course is once again then that integrated BP, the blueprint integrated base attribute we made. Drag this over. Duplicate it, connect that one to the completed, drag all of that, put in there. That's basically it for that function. Second function we need to make is called create TCF stats. And for this one, we just get for each loop. Grab that, put it in there. And of course another get owner, get component by class, of course the Tempest attributes component again, move this up a wee bit. Attribute of class. again, it's the integrated base one we made. Cast that. Set the stat struct. Come off from over there, it's slapped into there. And then break this one again. Slide that up there. Cross from this, and then set attribute. Oh, wrong. Set attribute gameplay tags. Which then of course comes from this. We get select. Drag that into there. And once again we drag off of this. Attribute values. Connect that there. And for this we get the value. Bring that down to the max value. And then that one to current value. Leave the middle blank. Now, this part up here is probably about the longest drawn out part. I'll basically show you what to do here a couple of times, and then I'll just copy and paste this from one of the other ones I've set up already just to save time. But basically you have to copy this, the stats you would want from the inventory system. So first, attribute health, attribute stamina. There is no mana, so we have to make one for them, so we go new gameplay tag, attribute dot mana. Again. Attribute dot attack damage, and so on and so on, going down the whole list there. I had one other. Here's one I prepared earlier. Always wanted to say that. As you can see, basic thing: attribute health, stamina, mana, attack damage, poise, defense bar, all the stats you want to add. You can add more if you want later on, and so on. So I just replace them, take that one out of the way, put that there. Okay, as a quick double check there, I was making, as I said, once all this is made, also don't remember to add a little return node here at the completed. Compile that, and then we go to the event graph if this same component. As you can see on the start of this, he's got all the loading of the stats, got all the stats and the attributes. Like I said, he's got this basically set up as very much like an Elden Ring style, of just automatically auto-saving and loading as you're logging in the game. You can change that if you want later on, but like I said, we'll just keep all this stuff for now. And we just add this function. We'll slide that in there. And then, once again, add it in there. A little unpopular tonight. Okay, back again. All this pausing is fun. Unfortunately, it's a necessary occurrence because when myself and the Tempest creator were actually working on this, the actual video we had making it was well over an hour long, because we kept switching back and forth of finding the proper locations of where to put a lot of stuff to get it all working. So a lot of things are out of order, so I'm having to go back and forth and double check on that video to make sure everything's working properly. But yeah, this little function here is complete. Like I said, once you have the return node, that's this one finished. The next one we need to go to then is update widgets. Originally we had this next part of the function we had in various a couple of other places. We had tried it and modify stats and savings and loadings in the event graphs and such, but none of them were working right. They kept giving us issues. So we finally found a way to just adding it in here. And find this is probably about the best location to actually have this next part just added in here. So we changed this up a couple of times as well. So I'll go by my old project and just give you the end result that actually works instead of redoing it about 2 or 3 different times for each loop. And again on the stats, break this. And we get TCF set, or set it technically, but get it from over there. Drag in that into there. So we will get a is valid just to be on the safe side. Drag off on that. Set stat. Not from that, we get it from this. Is valid. And we drag that into there. Set stat. No, wrong one. Which one was it? Attributes. We get the attribute values. Do we set them? We don't get them. Oh dear. been a long night. Set that in there. Then this we will drag. Oh no, stay in place. Sit. And the boolean, we will get a select. False value. True is a current value. And that goes into the attributes value, this value, to that one. Technically, this function is not this function. This function is now basically complete, but I will just add on a last little piece here just for testing purposes. Just so we can see it in action. Connect these up here. Down into there. This one. That. Like I said, this last little part is just for testing and viewing of the stats. I'll just do another pause here, and I'll be back momentarily. Just to make sure this is all verified and correct. Yes, I think printing out then we will do a quick check here. Yep, the stats are all matching up. Excellent. Pick up a couple of items here. Health bars updating. Well, that's seems to be working. What we now need to do is you can see also the ring that was equipped is saved to equipped. We'll add a couple more parts and pieces here. See, the stats are all updating as we go along. Of course, now we cannot switch weapons at runtime, but this is because of the enhancement inputs. And I'll actually show you how to set that up as well now for just a little extra thing for this system. So what we'll do is go to the controller. defaults. It has the player inputs mappings here. This is in the plugins folder of the Tempest. Like always, we always recommend, myself and the creator always say, don't really add or tweak up any of the actual blueprints inside the plugins folder, because that could mess up any kind of like new updates that come to the plugin over time. So what we will do is we will take this, find a spot for it up here. I'll just put it in that wee inventory folder for now. So we will just drag this over to the inventory folder, any folder you want really, and just copy it. Then go back there. And I'll rename this. The integrated player inputs. Then we will make in the inputs here an input action. We'll just call this weapon switch. Then we'll come in here and you see all your mappings here, you know, you're moving forward, back and jumping, attacking and such. We'll add one more. We'll call that the weapon switch. We'll add it. Give it a button. The right. Then we go back into our controller and we change this. Yep. Change this into the integrated. Now hopefully we should be able to, let's double check here. If we check the equipment, yeah, both weapons are equipped, and if we press the right button, still not working. Shame on me. Oh. Foolish me. I know exactly what's happened. This integration is all set up properly, but what I forgot to do was actually change the button on the player's blueprint. As you see in here, that's all their movement logic, but in here's all the basic stuff. It's quite daunting, but at least the guy has commentated on a whole lot of it here for what's actually it all requires. But what we need is down here. Where are you? Here we go. Right key, change weapon. Just drag it over here to see a bit more clear. So what we need to do is just we type in just a weapon switch. We'll see the enhanced action events. And then we just slide that in there. Compile. You can see the enhanced stuff has a lot more things of like when it's completed, started, ongoing. And then in the integrated tab now you can add like various triggers and arrays, whether it's held, press, double down. Just don't need to go into all the functions of the enhanced buttons, but they're all there. But now, hopefully it should work this time. Fingers crossed. Yay! As you can see, it also the stats are all. We're going to get rid of them so we can actually see it all happening. Disconnect that one now. We don't need to see the stats all updating. We know they're updating now. So again, start up, character, swap the weapon. As you can see, switching the weapon at runtime. So that is all working as intended too. Final thing for the update then is now just to set the actual, integrate the weapons itself with the weapons for the the stats data for the Tempest combat system. And I believe I will do one more little pause as I double check where that is, but I believe it's into the Master Weapons blueprint, but I'll just do a wee double check and see, so I shall be right back. Okay, it's taking a bit longer than I anticipated, simply because of all these pauses and double checking. Fortunately, like I said though, the original system is extremely the first video we did was over an hour long, and it was just it's all muddled up all over the place. I'm having a hard time finding everything that was working on, so I'll go by the old project as well. And one of the things I did almost forget to do was that integrated base attribute where we set up the struct. What we'll actually do is we will set up then finalize everything we need for that, just to make sure everything's in here. It's working right. So we will call event modify attribute, and we will simply just call the parent function. Like I said, this is a child of the base attribute system in the plugin, so connect that to that and that. Then we get owner, get owning actor, my bad. Get component by class, and this time we get the BP stats component. That we modify stats. Pull off our stats struct here, and as we know by now, we break it. Stat in there, the value in there. No, I am wrong, I am wrong, I am wrong. Disregard that. Take off from this. Add from this into that. That's the function for that setup. And then we go to the master weapon. Where was that? Inventory, blueprints, items. Here we go, master weapon. So we just had a variable in here. We'll call it weapon class, and we'll call it then base player right in here. We get the base BP base player weapon class. We'll drag that out. Is valid. class. True. And I don't really need to worry about that, because I'll just split it. And this, we have to connect the owner to player character, and then equip. Connect that. Then in our base character, put that back to none. And I think that is more or less all of it. See, all the stats are updating based on what equipment you have. All the kit and caboodle. I'll do one last little pause just to make sure there's no final tweaks or errors, and then I'll show you where all the data for these items is. So I'll have one more quick little pause and I'll be right back. And I'm back for the final time. Oh, this actually turned out a lot longer than I thought, but this is generally all finished now. Like I said, from your character's blueprint. I just used the inventory character, but of course, if you have your own character blueprint already made up, all you would basically have to do is make it a child of this inventory character, and it will just follow on everything that's already been done. That's a general standard, and like I said, have your weapon class here on your character spawn, leave it at none. And if you want to, in the future, then from the set up all the weapons and such, once you have more made, because unfortunately in this baseline that we sample system there isn't any made up. But if I can work in a less cumbersome way for all of this, I'll let everyone know later on in an update video. Basically, as you see, if you have your master weapon here, where it was set, for your master weapon blueprint here, where we have the weapon class, we spawn it, sets it to equip from all base, kind of integrating the Tempest combat weapons with the inventory combat weapons. And each of the, once you start making child blueprints, the master weapon, then you'll have ones like this here, where you just set down the weapon class where you want it to be. Like I said, at the minute we only have basically the unarmed, I'll just leave it at that for now. But that's the general idea, if you say you make a sword BP from the weapons, the Tempest weapons, put that blueprint in there based on the everything from the data asset that came with the unarmed blueprint. So you have your unarmed blueprint here. All basically it holds is the data asset. The data asset holds everything you need for indexes, abilities, equipment, and all. Just as you learn more about the Tempest combat system, you'll know more about this as you go along, and I myself will do the same. Like I said, if I get less cumbersome ways of doing this, I will, and I'll update everyone, but generally this is the way of it. So you'll have your blueprint class in here, you can leave the rest of this blank. In the weapons blueprint, you don't need to update all this because it will be in a data table. The data table here, you see inventory system, the blueprints, data tables, and this is where it holds all the info on each item you want to make. You see, you've got your icons, rarities, consumable weapons, what type you want to make it. All the kit and caboodle, you can set things, as like individual items. You want it to be a single item or a wee bag, just whatever you want. You get the general idea. For weapons and such and all, then you'll see in here is where a lot of the stuff is set. All your data and info, weapons, and where it says actor class, this blueprint will be based on this sword. That wee sword blueprint we had there, where you see, the weapon class, the blueprint there. So it will coexist then with the Tempest weapons. So whatever data you have in here will also be on this data table then, just from making sure you pick the right blueprint from here. Once you start having more, swords, axes, bows, spears, whatever kind of weapons you want to have. But in here is also where you can set stats. In this data table, say if your sword, you want your weapon to have attack damage, critical damage, attack speed, all that kind of things that come up on the inventory screen you see. You can set which stats you want it to show, and then what stats they give you. So you say if you wanted it to have the attack damage, it'll add 70 to your attack damage. For the critical damage, it'll add an extra 30 for critical damage. Adds 10 to your attack speed, and so on and so on and so on. You can set all of that yourself. Then on weapons, then there's the sell value, buy value. That's all for the shop features that all come with it as well. But that is generally all. That's it all set and done. As you can see, then you'll have everything all sitting as is here. Increase a couple of the stats here. Let's see if we can. Confirm. As you can see, they all go up again. So everything's working. The stat bars are working, the health bars, the weapon switching, using the items. See, drinking this potions increases. Do I have any mana potions in here? Yes, so I didn't set up the action for them like I did the weapon swapping with the enhanced inputs, but you saw that was done earlier on, so you just do the same thing there. So we'll just test it here by going here, use, right clicking, use item. I don't think he set a specific for the amount of potions. Did it change? Didn't even drink. So I don't think he's even set the actual specifics for the mana. But if we go over here, back to max stamina, see how if you go step foot in there, it increases your max stamina. The bar is going up when the base amount you have stays the same. Increases, obviously. Then you can set the regeneration rates and all yourself in game as you go along. Same with the mana. Step foot in, increases it in size. It goes up and up and up, up and up and up. With the game, if you go back in, they're high to the left because he's got it all auto saved, kind of like an Elden Ring kind of base thing. So this is the baseline of it. Like I said, this is probably one of the ones I will be using more in future. So as I get more ideas of how to use it now, find any more streamlined ways of making things a bit less cumbersome, I will do an update video and let everyone know. But I hope everyone enjoyed this tutorial. I'll probably be working on a couple of locomotion ones next as I try and get them set up with this combat system and see how it goes. So I will see everyone again next time. Bye, have fun, and see you in the next tutorial.